Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about Kubernetes, okay, from the GCP. So, how to create a cluster from the GCP console? I'm going to show it to you today. So, we can call it as a Google Kubernetes engine in the Google Cloud. Okay. So, how to create a Kubernetes cluster? I'm going to show it to you. So, there is a two types of cluster we can create it. Okay, let me show it to you first. So we have it two types, right? One is called autopilot mode. Okay, another one is standard cluster. Okay, so this session I'm going to show it to you how to create a autopilot cluster. Okay, so in the cluster basics you need to mention the cluster name and reason you need to mention it. Okay, if you come to the networking you can select the network default or whatever you are created your own default network and subnet, and this can be public cluster or private cluster, you can mention it. Remaining things you can leave it as it is. And advanced settings, so release channel, whatever your channel required you can just use it. And automations, service mesh, security, metadata, I'll keep it as default. I'm not going to do any changes. Okay, and in the review section it will just show the all the details. You can just review it and you can just create a cluster. So this is how we can able to create a autopilot cluster. Okay, so now we are going to create a standard cluster. Okay, so I think still it is provisioning. Okay, so let me show it you how to create a standard cluster. Just go to the create cluster and switch to the standard cluster. Okay, okay, so here also same thing, cluster basic you need to mention the cluster name, and is it should be zonal or regional. So you can select it. So specify the node location also if you want, or you want the static version, the release version, you can just mention it. Okay, here only it is showing static version, it should be what is the version, you can select it, release channel, or which is the one you required. Okay, so I'll keep it as default. And if you come to the default nodes, okay, so here how many nodes should be running on this cluster, you can select it. Okay, and if you come to the nodes, so what is the image type and what is the instance types, you can select it, or machine type. And what is the boot disk, and is it required standard or balanced or SSD, which one you want you can select it. I'm going to select it for standard one. Okay, remaining all I'll keep it as a default. I'm not going to change anything. Okay, automation also same thing, networking, security, metadata, and features. Okay, let me create it. So we are able to create a autopilot mode and standard cluster. Okay. So autopilot mode, okay, whatever it is showing number of nodes, it is going to taken care by the Google only. Okay. If we are talking about a standard, so we need to take care about nodes, everything. Okay. So if you wanted to see here, auto scale up nodes also. Whenever there is any request coming from the cluster, it is going to scale up the nodes. Okay, so this is entire taken care by Google. We need to just deploy the applications. Okay, in the meantime I'll just go to the workloads. I can see that what are the default settings, we can able to see it. I'll just show it to you. Okay, so there is a one feature called enabled managed Prometheus. So there is a new feature called Prometheus. You can just enable it, you can monitor it. So you don't want to create a one more Prometheus monitoring tool. So from here only you can just enable it, you can just monitor it. Whenever you just deploy the applications, you are able to see here services and ingress. Okay, so from here you are able to see it. We are not deployed anything, services or ingress also, it is not showing. And applications, secrets and config, storage, object of browser, migrated to containers. Okay, so if you are able to create a migration, you can just migrate it. Okay, and how to back up the cluster, how to restore it. This is a new feature from the Google. You can able to just take a backup and entire you can restore it if something goes wrong on the cluster. For example, if the entire cluster is down or entire region is down, you can just back up and you can return it. So config and policy, you can able to see that what are the configurations here. Okay, and policies also you can able to see it here. Okay, so if it is installations or cluster with any violations, all the things you can able to see it here. Okay, let me come to the clusters. Let me see it is it up and running or not. Still is it is deploying. So let me go inside the standard cluster. I'll just explain you about the logs. Okay, if you are able to see that there is a cluster logs, and if you are enabled any autoscaler logs, you are able to see it here. Okay, and if you come to the observability, you can able to see its CPU, memory, and network. If you are enabled it, you can just enable it. Just one click, this will be enabled. And storage. Okay, so still it is not done. And nodes. Okay, so there is a default pool. Okay, number of nodes still it is not showing. And in the meantime, you can able to go to compute engine. You can able to see it how many nodes are running in the cluster. You can able to see it. Okay, so if you're able to see, there is a three from the standard cluster, one from the autopilot mode. Okay. Okay, let me go autopilot cluster. So from here you are not able to see any cluster, I mean nodes. Okay, because it is it is taken care by GCP itself only. We can able to see only storage and observability. If you come to the monitoring, observability, and logs. Okay, so this is all about standard cluster and autopilot mode. So now we can able to how to connect it to this cluster using Cloud Shell. That is what I'm going to show it you. Okay. So the autopilot mode is it is running. Okay. So now let's go to this action and connect it. Okay. So here there is a command called run in Cloud Shell. Just enter it so that it will come to the command line interface. It will shows. Okay. So automatically it will give the command to authorize it. So the same thing for standard cluster also. So still it is not up. Okay, that is why I showed you this one. The same thing you can run it. Okay, kubectl get nodes. You can just verify it. Is it nodes are up and running or not? See, we are able to see the nodes. Kubectl get all. So there is nothing. But as of now, there is only services. It is running by default. Okay, so this is all about today's topic. We'll talk about next class how to deploy it. Okay, thanks everyone. Please subscribe my channel and watch the video. Thank you.